y'all, welcome back. So tonight's meal is kind of a spur of the moment thing. I pulled out some ground beef to thaw earlier today without really a plan of what we were going to make with it, but I knew something would come together. And I've been thinking about my cookbook that I got for Christmas. It's the Kent Rollins cookbook, or it's one of Kent Rollins' cookbook, and I figured why not try to make his hodgepodge soup, because it is April Fool's, and I mean hodgepodge soup just kind of sounds like an April Fool's kind of meal. We have everything that we need just about. We're going to make a little substitution, but we're going to try it out and see how this goes. It looks really good. So, and it's using like everyday, for the most part, everyday normal ingredients in your pantry. So I'm going to prop y'all up here so y'all can see how we throw this together, and we'll try it out together. Alright y'all, so we've got about a pound of ground beef down in the bottom of our pan that we're browning off. This is a 93.7 ground beef, so there shouldn't be too much fat that comes off of it. Like you can see so far, we have like next to nothing in the bottom of there. So if you have a less lean of a meat, it's a little bit fattier, I'd probably wait for this next step. Just drain off some of that fat as you get it. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. We're going to add in one medium onion that we've diced up. And from the looks of this recipe, I mean, you can't get much simpler than this. And I guess it's the way cowboy life has to go. I love me some Kent Rollins. He is hilarious. I don't get to watch his videos as much as I would like to, but every now and again, I like to just binge watch some of his videos. And honestly, I don't know what he cooks all of the time. Like, I can't remember the videos that I've watched, but he's entertaining. And I think that's the best part about him. You can always go back and rewatch him. His food looks good and he's entertaining, but I think really for me, I just watch it mostly for the entertainment value. I am looking forward to trying this cookbook though, which is why I think Michael got it for me. So with our onion, it just says some salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to add maybe 1/4 teaspoon and then maybe 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We can always add more later. His recipe calls for 2 like 11-ounce cans. Yeah, 10.7-ounce cans of minestrone soup. I have this 19-ounce, so we're going to make do with that. Next up, we need 1 can of rotel, which is just diced tomatoes and green chilies. And you can get a spicier version if you like. This one's the original. Next up, we need 1 can of hominy, which we really only keep this in our pantry for our pasoli soup and a freezer stock-up soup that I like to make. Other than that, I don't use a lot of hominy. I just don't know very many recipes for it. Next up, he calls for a 15-ounce can of ranch-style beans or chili beans. And usually I have ranch-style beans, but I've looked outside in our outdoor pantry and in our inside pantry, and I can't find any, so we must have used them all up. So I'm just going to use some white beans and adjust the seasoning. So we'll dump that in. And he says 1.5 soup cans of water, so since this is a 19-ounce, I'm just going to use 1 full can of this. This little stir. And since we didn't have the ranch beans, we're just going to add some extra seasonings that you would get from those ranch beans. So we're going to do the 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, about 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, maybe about 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, or maybe a full teaspoon. And we'll mix it up and just let this simmer. Now he says in about 30 minutes this will be ready to eat. Will be all simmered and flavored together, and really we're just letting those flavors mix and mingle. This has lots of opportunity for flavor, that's for sure, and it's so easy. And you can even throw in some more vegetables, I'm sure, but I do like being able to see the celery, the onions, the peppers, and everything all in it. So we're gonna put the lid on and just let this cook. All right, y'all, it's time to taste test. All right. And give it a little mix up. Now his broth does look much darker than ours, which could be the type of soup or the fact that we don't have the chili beans. That might make a big difference. Alright, we're going to see how our flavor is. I'm also going to add in 1 beef bouillon cube just to give it a little more depth. And the soup splashed back like it was fighting with me about that decision, so we will see. I think that if we had used the ranch style beans he called for, we would have probably be right on point. Just a little more salt. But y'all, it's pretty good. Maybe let it simmer just a minute with the lid off. Thicken it up just a little bit. And there we have it, y'all. Kent Rollins Hodgepodge soup made our way. Definitely a nice little meal to throw together and still be super yummy. And just throw a little slice of bread on the side of it, and dinner is done.